Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, and wanted to bring you this article in this video. Thank you so much for your comments and discussion, as always, in the comment section. We could probably already file this under ridiculous, but I'm just going to give you an overview anyways. Oil giants, this is from The Guardian. Oil giants must cut output by a third to meet climate target. Is that all? Just a third? You know, you guys are fine. Just a third. I mean, that doesn't sound like anything, honestly. 7 largest companies must make a 35% cut by when? 2040 to limit climate crisis and meet the 1.5C goal, says think tank. So this is... Actually, we can file this under useless because 2040 is 20 years from now, and they're saying 35% cut, and somehow we're going to meet the 1.5 Celsius goal. Okay, the problems with that are we're probably already at 1.5, although the agreed upon, I guess the global temperature rise that we've seen so far, that everybody seems to be passing around is that we're at 1C above baseline. But quite a few people think we might be at 1.5 already, or even closer to 1.8. So this is ridiculous, though, because if they cut, so we're going to meet the 1.5C goal. We're on an exponential trend line, not a steady linear trend line. We're on an exponential trend line, and somehow we're going to meet this 1.5C goal with a 35% cut. But let's dig a little further. The world's largest oil and gas companies need to slash their production by more than a third by 2040 to meet global climate targets. According to new report, the 7 listed oil majors, including ExxonMobil, BP, and Shell, would need to cut the total amount of oil and gas they produce every day by 35% to avoid driving temperatures to 1.5C, higher than pre-industrialized levels. I don't know. There, you almost have in the what's almost broken through into mainstream discussion about climate change is that we need to go to net zero. Real quick, like in the next 5 or 10 years, right? Some people are talking about net zero by 2025 or 2030, which obviously is a really huge goal. But let's say net zero by 2040. How are we going to, there's no way we're going to do that if oil companies are still producing 2/3 of the gas they're producing. That's just not, does not add up, does not compute. There's a lot of really bad math already in this article. Global governments would also need to stop issuing new oil and gas licenses for fossil fuel exploration, according to the report. Well, yes, that would be key. We're gonna actually have to see some just all-out shutdowns, a la the UK ban on fracking, which may or may not be temporary. A few people said in the comment section that it was a temporary ban. It said in the article it was temporary until further, a further study or further investigation could prove that it was not dangerous or whatever. So whatever that means, I don't know. Meaning they could turn it around at any moment. So this study was produced by Carbon Tracker, a financial think tank, using publicly available oil company data to measure their carbon footprints today and by 2040. Showed that the global oil projects that have already been approved are almost enough to meet demand in a 1.6C scenario, and there's very little headroom. Yeah, well, and if you want to, talk plainly and truthfully about where we really are at as far as climate change. So, I mean, a lot of these prognoses, I guess, don't take into account that we've already, we're on we have a lag, a carbon lag, right? So we haven't even seen the heating yet from 10 or 20 years ago of carbon that we have emitted already in the last 30 years. So they're not even accounting for that. So if we're already at 1 and there's a lag in heating of carbon that we've already emitted, I mean, I don't know why this isn't a more widely accepted reality, even by the IPCC, with the IPCC or the UN or whoever puts out all these studies or puts out all these reports. Like, they should say, well, we're at 1C, but with the lag in carbon heating, we've already insured, this much heating, whatever it is. They'll probably put it at like 2.2. I'm sure they'll lowball it, but still, you have to account for it, and I don't see anybody accounting for it. Especially this, whatever this is, whatever you want to call this, they're not accounting for that. They're just assuming that there's no carbon lag, that the heating we feel now is all the heating we're gonna get, and oh my God, if we put some more carbon in the atmosphere, oh, there's gonna be more heating. Totally fallacious or facile. I love the word fallacious, though. If companies and governments attempt to develop all their oil and gas reserves, either the world will miss its climate targets or assets will become stranded in the energy transition, or both. This analysis shows that if companies really want to both mitigate financial risk and be part of the climate solution, they must shrink production, or how about stop altogether or quit it. This is okay. So I want to finish this. This is a hilarious sentence. European oil firms such as Shell and BP, considered the greenest of the world's major oil companies. How are they green? In what way are they green? Are these the guys that use solar power to power their fracking facilities? I don't know. Is that how they're green? I'm not sure. They would also need to make a step change in their business models to avoid contributing to a climate catastrophe. Anyways, this is fairly ridiculous and a little bit depressing, or maybe a lot depressing. I don't know. It just depends on where you're at in all of this. Are you a lot depressed? Or are you a little depressed? I seem to vacillate back and forth. I'm mainly like amused because I'm not, currently feeling too many effects of climate change right now. So I'm able to just kind of like, I can kind of pretend that things are normal and I can just be amused by this news. But man, when you start feeling the effects of climate change, this shit it's not going to be amusing at all. It's going to be very, very serious. That's all I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.